A fairy tale princess married her prince, but hidden behind the royal wedding was a secret plan that would shock the world and tear apart one of history's most famous families. She walked down that aisle in a dress worth thousands, smiling like a dream come true. But what if everything we saw was part of a plan? What if the romance we all believed in was hiding something darker? What if Meghan Markle never wanted to be a princess at all? And what if the real reason she married Harry would break your heart when you finally hear it? You've watched the wedding, you've seen the interviews, you've picked a side, but you've never heard the truth like this. The truth that changes everything you thought you knew about the woman who walked into Buckingham Palace and walked out with a prince, a title, and a plan that was years in the making. Everyone remembers where they were the day Harry met Meghan. It was 2016, a blind date. Two people who seemed like they came from different worlds. He was a prince. She was an actress. The tabloids called it a fairy tale. Millions of people around the world watched them fall in love on TV, in interviews, holding hands at official events. She wore elegant dresses. He looked at her like she was the only person in the room. It felt real. It felt pure. It felt like the kind of love story we don't see anymore. The kind that makes you believe in romance again. But here's the thing about fairy tales. They're written to hide the truth. And the truth about Meghan and Harry? It's not what you think. Because while the world was watching a love story unfold, something else was happening behind closed doors. Something calculated. Something planned. And it all started long before that blind date ever happened. Meghan Markle wasn't just any actress. She was an actress who was running out of time. By 2016, she was 35 years old. She'd spent years on a cable TV show called Suits. It was a good job, it paid well, but it wasn't stardom. It wasn't the cover of Vogue. It wasn't walking red carpets at the Oscars. Hollywood is brutal to women over 30. Roles dry up, calls stop coming, younger faces take your place. Meghan knew this. She talked about it with friends. She posted about ambition on her blog. She wanted to be known. She wanted to matter. But TV fame wasn't enough anymore. She needed something bigger, something global, something that would make her unforgettable. And that's when someone whispered a name to her, a name that would change everything. The name was Harry. They call it a blind date, but nothing about it was blind. Meghan had a friend named Marcus Anderson. He worked in the world of private clubs, celebrity events, exclusive parties. He knew everyone. And he knew Prince Harry. Some people say Marcus saw an opportunity. Others say Meghan asked him to arrange it. Either way, the meeting happened. July 2016. London, a private dinner. No cameras, no press. Just two people and a carefully planned introduction. Harry thought it was spontaneous. He thought fate brought them together. But Meghan? She knew exactly who he was. She'd researched him. She'd studied the royal family. She'd even posted about Princess Diana on social media years before. Some say she dreamed about this moment. Others say she planned for it. And when they finally sat across from each other that night, Meghan smiled like it was the first time she'd ever thought about being a princess. But it wasn't. From the very beginning, the palace knew something was wrong. When Harry introduced Meghan to his family, they smiled. They were polite. But behind closed doors, they were worried. William, Harry's older brother, told him to slow down. He said, "Make sure she's the right one." The Queen met Meghan and stayed quiet. Palace staff watched her carefully. They noticed things. The way she spoke to staff. The way she made demands. The way she seemed more interested in the cameras than the family. One insider said, "She didn't act like someone joining a family. She acted like someone starting a business." But Harry was in love. Or at least he thought he was. He defended her. He cut off people who questioned her. He pushed his family away. And Meghan? She kept smiling. She kept playing the role. Because she knew that if she could just get to the wedding, everything would change. And she was right. May 19, 2018. The day the world watched Meghan Markle become a princess. The dress, the veil, the long walk down the aisle. Millions of people tuned in. It was beautiful. It was emotional. It was everything a royal wedding should be. Except for one thing. Meghan wasn't following the script. She chose her own flowers. She rewrote parts of the ceremony. She invited celebrities instead of royals. Oprah Winfrey was there. George Clooney was there. People who barely knew Harry and Meghan sat in seats meant for tradition. The royal family noticed. They smiled for the cameras, but inside, they were uncomfortable. This wasn't how things were done. This wasn't how you became a royal. But Meghan didn't care, because she wasn't trying to become a royal. She was trying to become something else, something the palace never saw coming. It only took 6 months for the fairy tale to start falling apart. By late 2018, stories started leaking from the palace. Staff members were quitting. Assistants were crying. People who worked for Meghan said she was impossible. She sent emails at 5 a.m. She made demands that couldn't be met. She didn't follow royal protocol. One person called her Duchess Difficult. Another said she treated us like employees, not people. The press picked up on it. Headlines turned negative. The British public started to turn against her. But Meghan didn't change. Instead, she did something shocking. She started fighting back. She gave secret interviews to reporters. She leaked stories that made the royal family look bad. She painted herself as the victim. And Harry? He believed her. He stood by her side. He made a choice. Meghan or his family. And slowly, quietly, he started choosing Meghan. But why? 3 weeks before the engagement was announced, Meghan had a meeting. It wasn't with Harry. It wasn't with the Queen. It was with a team of advisors, PR experts, brand managers, people who knew how to turn fame into fortune. They met in a private office in Los Angeles. No cameras, no witnesses, just Meghan and a plan. According to sources who were there, they didn't talk about love. They didn't talk about marriage. They talked about deals, Netflix, book contracts, speaking tours, global branding. One person in the room said she wasn't planning a wedding. She was planning an exit. They discussed how long she'd need to stay in the royal family to build her brand. They talked about how to control the narrative. They mapped out a strategy that would take years. And when Meghan left that meeting, she flew to London. She smiled for the cameras. She said yes to Harry's proposal. And the clock started ticking. By 2019, Meghan wasn't trying to fit in anymore. She was trying to get out.
She stopped attending royal events. She stopped following palace rules. She started giving interviews where she cried, where she talked about how hard it was, how lonely she felt. The media ate it up. The public felt sorry for her. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Meghan was building a team, a Hollywood agent, a PR firm, a production company. She was setting up the pieces for a life after royalty. Harry didn't see it. Or maybe he did, but he loved her too much to care. In January 2020, they made the announcement. They were stepping back from royal duties. The world was shocked. The Queen was blindsided. But Meghan, she was ready, because this was always the plan. But there's one more secret she kept hidden. She told her best friend something the world was never supposed to hear. The night before Meghan married Harry, she had a phone call. Late at night, private. One friend says Meghan was crying, not from happiness, from fear. But not the kind of fear you'd expect. She wasn't afraid of becoming a princess. She was afraid she wouldn't get what she came for. According to the friend, Meghan said, "I just need to make it through 2 years. Then we can do what we really want." 2 years. Not a lifetime, not forever. 2 years. Long enough to build the brand. Long enough to become globally famous. Long enough to walk away with the title, the platform, and the power. Her friend asked, "Do you love him?" And Meghan paused. Then she said something that still haunts that friend to this day. She said, "I love what he can give me." This is the moment everything makes sense. Meghan didn't marry Harry for love. She married him for a platform. She married him to become one of the most famous women in the world. She married him so she could leave the royal family, take the title, and build an empire. And it worked. Today, Meghan and Harry live in California. They have Netflix deals worth millions. They give speeches for hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're more famous than they ever were in the palace. But Harry? He lost his family. He lost his military titles. He lost his country. And some say he still doesn't see it. He still believes Meghan saved him. But the truth is, she used him. She saw a lonely prince who wanted to be loved, and she gave him exactly what he needed, just long enough to get what she wanted. It's not a love story. It's a business deal. And the saddest part? Harry still thinks it's real. The fairy tale was never real. It was just the greatest performance of Meghan Markle's career. The fairy tale is over. The truth is out. And now you know what really happened behind the palace walls. If this story shocked you, hit subscribe, because there are dozens more secrets Hollywood and the royals don't want you to know. And if you want the full story on royal scandals, check out our playlist below, where we expose the lies, the falls, and the secrets that changed history forever.